is Dr. Ray, and I'm here to tell you about our podcast, Overcoming Dyslexia and Other Stigmas. We are here to have the tough and difficult conversation about being labeled special ed or have some form of a disability. My name again is Dr. Raylyn White.
And I am Keita A. Pratt. Be sure to tune in to us every first and third Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
We can be found on Clubhouse as of now, but please stay tuned to our social media pages, Overcoming Dyslexia and Other Stigmas.
Heritage Academy in San Antonio is now open for student registration. Our mission at Heritage Academy is to not only prepare students to succeed at college, but to instill values and knowledge, to educate the whole person, and to balance intellectual development with purposeful moral guidance. Smaller classes, personal attention, focusing on teaching life values. We're eager to welcome new students this fall. Register your student today at heritageacademy.net.
Hello, Dr. Ray.
Hello, ma'am. How are you today?
I am doing fabulous. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm hearing the echo.
I'm not sure. Are you still hearing the echo?
Let me see. No.
Well, hello, everyone. We already starting. See, we already starting. So, hello, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in with us for another amazing episode. So, as you know, we do this every first and third Tuesday, and we look forward to see our guests, our audience, the people that have been with us from the beginning. As you know, you are an overcomer. We are overcoming, and our guests are overcomers too. And we do this so that we can give you the information that you need, so that you are aware and you have all the tools you need, your children, your students, so you all can be successful. So as you know, we definitely would like for you to contact us to join our podcast, because we would love to hear your story. If you have not, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself, Dr. Ray, or me, Keita A. Pratt. As you know, I am Keita A. Pratt. I am one of your hostess on Overcoming Dyslexia and Other Stigmas. And I am a dyslexic. And the reason why I do what I do is because, as you all know, I'm a dyslexic, but I am a dyslexic that was not tested, as I had to grow up and I literally advocated for myself. I did a lot of research for myself to be able to be in the positions that I have been in these days. Has it been easy? No, it has not. But the resources that we give on this platform and the resources that we share based on our day-to-day lives, we do this so that you can have all that you need, so that you do not have to be labeled the labels that have been given unto us, right? So as I pass it over to my co-host, as she introduced herself, introduce our special guest, because we have an amazing story for you tonight. We have an amazing episode for you tonight. So as I pass it over to Dr. Ray, the floor is yours.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Ray, and I am an administrator in the education system. My goal in life is just to help students become the best version of who they want to be. But let me tell you, we have a very, very special guest on today. Her name is Joann Morton. I almost had to catch myself because I just call her Joe, but she is a phenomenal woman. She's in corporate America, but let me tell you, she was a mom on a purpose. And I had to say was, but she still is a mom. But when they like 20 something years old, you know, you still can't do what you normally would do as a parent. But I want you to listen to her story as she tells what her and her husband did in order to create this phenomenal athlete that is ranked so high. I'm going to let her tell it, because it is so amazing what her son has overcome and what he is going to be doing. He is a dyslexic as well. And hopefully one day we can get him on the podcast. But until then, we are going to be blessed with the woman who birthed this amazing son and bring her up to the stage. And this is Joann Morton. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome.
Hey,
Hello. Welcome. Welcome.
hey. Thank
What,
you guys.
oh, can you just give us a background about yourself and then bring it to your son?
Awesome. Well, as you said, I am in corporate America. My name is Joann Morton. I am married to Derek Morton, and he is a soldier in the Army. So I'm a military wife. I am currently a procurement analyst at Joint Base San Antonio. So I do a lot of contracting and education as well for adults now. Training them and stuff of that manner. I am a mother of two, and I have a bonus son. Again, all of them are grown, but they're still my babies. So I have a 28-year-old, 29-year-old, 22, and a 19. The 19 and the 22 are currently in college, and so it's nice. And then I have 3 grandbabies, two bonus babies, one biological, but hey, all 3 are my grandbabies. So and they're still rotten. So I'm still mothering, but at a different level.
Yes, that grandmother one is totally different.
It's a different level because and this is the fun level because the kids are grown, and I can easily say I don't care.
Well,
yes.
Can you tell us about your son and all of the amazing things that he is doing in college right now?
Awesome. Yes. So the child that we are talking about, his name is Derek. He is a junior, so we call him DJ for short. He just turned 22 in May, so I guess he's almost 23. He's currently a grad student at Texas Southern University, where he's getting his master's degree in sports management. He just finished up his bachelor's this past June, and got his bachelor's of arts or science, one of the two. In any event, he is a full-time, I should say, athlete. He is the starting wide receiver for Texas Southern's Tigers. And that itself has been a full-time journey. And he's my heart. He's my heart. That's my first baby, my firstborn. We went through some ups and downs, and he's the spoiled one. So it's one of those. But yeah, he's a really sweet child and loving, real big heart little boy. And I'm just so proud of him, for everything that he's gone through and his accomplishments. And I can go on and on about him.
Yeah, I think they're all spoiled, but I'm not going to say that.
They
all spoiled. Some form. But anyway.
Mommies with boys.
I can't talk. I cannot talk at all. But look, when did you realize that Derek, DJ, was having some difficulties or was different than the other kids his age?
So it's funny because, again, his name is Derek, but when he was little, we always called him DJ. So when we were teaching him how to spell his name, I always did it with song. And even though his name is Derek, he was Derek. That's my name, DJ. He never really, that's just how I taught him how to spell his name. But when it came down to education, he was in the 2nd grade, and he would write his name out. Instead of Derek, he wrote DJ. And I noticed he was always writing his D's backwards. And of course, the teachers was like, that's normal. He's learning. In my opinion, in kindergarten, that was normal. He's learning. 1st grade, normal. He's learning, but you only have 2 letters in your name. And your 2 letters should not be always backwards. And then I started noticing, when they write little love letters to your, like for Mother's Day and whatnot, he would spell dog, B-O-G. And his P's were always backwards. And I would ask him, what is this? And he would tell me what the word was, but he would just write it backwards.
Different.
It was just different, and when I brought it to the attention of his teachers, they were like, he's fine. He'll grow out of it. I'm like, but he only has 2 letters in his names. I mean, education starts with pattern when they're that young age. It's repeated.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps writing his name backwards, and I refuse to allow them to just push him along. I wanted him to get tested, and I had to go through not only the school, but I had to go to the pediatrician.
Yeah.
And I had got the pediatrician to write me something to say that he should be tested. And the good thing is he went to school in Dallas, and we had a really good elementary school. And those teachers were like, if you feel that he needs to be tested, we'll test him. And he went through a rigorous amount of testing, and it was just repeated to see how he would react, or reading and everything else. And they said he is on the dyslexic spectrum. There's different levels, and he may not have the letters. And he would tell me sometimes when he's reading, sometimes the letters will pop out, and I would be like, what is what? But they were like, there's different forms of it, and his was more so he just kept, when he sees something, it just took him longer for it to translate from the paper to his head. And it took a long time for me to understand that, because I wasn't familiar with it, so it was a trying time.
One thing that I have learned as well, it's a neurological disorder. And when you were saying it takes a long time, because normally when you process on the left side of your brain, but when they are dyslexic, they acquire it on the right, and then it has to move to the left. And so that's why it's a delayed time that they have to process it, because they're not processing on the left side, which is the analytical side. They're processing it on the right. Normally, dyslexic are very creative, hands-on. Like I told him, my son, he was GT in kinesthetics, because that's what they do. They have a strength somewhere else, and because it's not in the reading, and the reading is really not a hindrance, because I didn't understand. Ev also was phenomenal when it came to math, and I'm sitting up here like, how do you know what the math problem is saying if you're having a hard time reading?
Right.
It's like it goes hand in hand. But for him, he could look at a problem and give you the answer, and then even have to think twice about it. So they have the strengths in something else. And I think the best analogy is like, if someone is deaf, then their hearing is extra keen. Or if they're deaf, their vision is extra keen. So they have their strengths. That's something different that is not really easy to see or test on a paper or pencil, on these state tests or whatever. But all they need is just a little extra time. To process.
Definitely. Yes, I totally agree. And that's one of the things when I realized DJ was dyslexic. And we're old school, old fashioned African-American parents. My husband's mom is an educator. She, taught second grade her entire career, retired as a teacher. So his upbringing is, stern. And my father's the same as well. He was in the military, but he was always adamant that you have to get that, what he would call a sheepskin. So that's that old school, and become something better than him. So he always stressed to me education. And one thing that I had to, once I had my kids, that same process was taught to me. Why don't you know how to do these things? It should come naturally. And you want to diss him. And when I realized DJ, he doesn't learn like that. And it took me to understand he's a sensitive kid. And yelling at him is not going to make him learn the information faster. So I had to come up with creative ways to teach him so he would be able to, adjust to the world and use some of the skill set that he was also getting with the different classes that he was taking. I knew that I needed to take extra steps to make sure he was successful, especially in the state of Texas, where you have to pass these state these state tests. I knew he wasn't going to pass it unless he had somebody who understood him and his needs. So once I realized, oh, there's so much out there for him, that's all it took was for me to say, I want it, and he's going to get it. And it was a lot of reading and a lot of trial and error. It was very challenging, but he overcame. He never failed a state test. He always passed them. And like I said, in Texas, especially elementary school age, if you didn't pass that test, you didn't go on to the next grade. And that's a hard thing to do, or to tell your child, is because you can't read when they can. I mean, they play video games. He can play video games like it ain't nothing. Football. I didn't understand how he understood the plays, but he couldn't read a paragraph, or he couldn't spell a word. Like I just didn't get it. And yeah, it was, we just had to take time to learn and find the help out there, because it's out there, so.
Wow. I mean, your story is so powerful. So as you say, you obtain the resources for DJ to be able to be successful. So can I ask, how did DJ accept some of the accommodations that was given to him? Did it put him in an awkward situations with his peers, knowing that this is, he has extra, resources provided to him? Like, how was his, attitude with it?
So, it's funny because I did catch him at a very early age, which was that was the best thing for him, because at that age, it's peer pressure is not there. It's fun time. So he would get pulled out of class for 1 hour and go to a special classroom and learn different mechanisms. And they would teach me too, like hand. And I never knew he was doing this, but if you look at your hand, and this shape, looking at your letters, the way the hands would go would tell him which way the D would go versus the B. And this is probably too much information, but like, even when he said the letter P, he would always write it backwards. And I would tell him, well, point to yourself, because you use the bathroom. So when you point to yourself, that's the letter that, so he would learn all these things in elementary school in the private setting. When he got to high school, it was more challenging because he didn't want people to know that he needed the extra time. So he would get frustrated that he had these accommodations where a teacher would be able to read to him the nouns and read the questions to him versus him reading it himself. If he wanted to, he would have to ask for it. Now, mommy made sure at the beginning of the school year, I didn't care. Up until his senior year, I had to come to the round table meeting of the minds. I need you all to understand that this is his accommodations, and he's going to give you a hard time, but this is what he needs. He, on the other hand, would step out of that comfort zone, and he would try it. And if it got to a point where he couldn't handle it, then he would go up to the teacher and say, can I retake the test? And they would take him to another room, and he would have more time there, because his thing was everybody's finishing first. He didn't want to be the last person. So he would just rush through it. And when he started realizing the impact it was having on his grades, he started taking it upon himself to remove himself and go into smaller settings. But he never really shared it with anybody. He just was, he did it behind the scenes. Now that he's in college and he still has these accommodations, he doesn't use them until it's beneficial to him. Right. So, when I talk to him about it, he's just like, well, Mom, I know how to deal with it now. And I don't think I need to have these extra accommodations, but they're there. And he knows it. And like when it came down to him taking the SAT, oh, he raised that flag real fast. I need more time. And he took it, So ideally, it has a lot to do with what the kids want. I'm sorry, my mommy is calling me.
No worries. Oh my goodness, that sounds like, like you said, he learned how to cope. He learned how to maneuver, through his different challenges, so that he can only utilize them when they're necessary. So that's amazing. As as a dyslexic myself, that's what we do. We learn how to manage as we grow. And as we grow, we get better. We learn, we understand more. We able to read much better and pronounce words a little better. So it sounds like me hearing about DJ is something like myself in high school. When I was in high school, I took special education classes as well. But far as certain accommodations, I wasn't privy to a lot that is that I know about today, because some of the resources wasn't even available, 20 years ago, like, regarding what's now. But I can say that, I did attend special education from the 3rd grade up until my senior year. And I had to go to special ed at least every day, at least, 2 periods a day to be assisted with my tests and my other classwork. But overall, I really didn't come to the knowledge of really comprehending, and probably until I got out of high school, which is the craziest thing. And then, not being able to move into the college realm like I would love to have done then, because of I didn't know the accommodations, and my parents, they wasn't aware of it either. But hearing your story regarding all the things that you did, you and your husband, to make sure DJ had the accommodations so that he could be successful in his college journey, as well as his schooling years. So Dr. Wright, do you have anything?
I truly understand when you say you have to reteach yourself and watch how you would not punish them or do something because they did their best. And so what I had to do, and I even had to talk to my my then mother-in-law about, because she paid the kids for grades. I didn't do that. But anyway, she did that. And she would say, well, I don't pay for C's. I only pay for A's and B's. And people were shocked when I would tell them I did not say that my kids have to have all A's, because that's an added pressure that you're putting on them on top of everything else. Now, me, myself, I can only have all A's, you see, but I couldn't put that on them. So what I did was I told the boys, especially F, I would ask the teacher, did they do all their assignments? Did they ask for help? And then the main thing is, did they do their best? And if the teacher said yes to all 3 of those questions, we celebrated whatever that grade was as if it was an A. Because overall, they did everything. He did everything that he can do. Now, granted, he never brought home anything lower than a C. But I had to tell, their grandmother, oh, you going to pay him for that C. You going to give him something for that C.
Right.
Because when kids give their best, and we have to teach them, sometimes your best isn't good enough.
Right.
But as long as you give your best. And I could see when because I was there when they played UTSA, when Texas Southern played UTSA, I was right there in the stands, proud auntie, and the people around me were just cracking up because we were rooting, just going. But anyway, But that same work ethic that
Mhm.
he has on that football field, when he leaves it all on that field, he has to do that in the classroom to get where he is.
There you go.
And so
Mhm.
when you instill in them to do their best, no matter what you do, and
Mhm.
sometimes your best isn't good enough. They'll lose a football game and he may not make the grade that he wants, but it's that resilience to
Right.
get back up and start again.
Again.
So that you can see that that is in DJ,
Mhm.
because of the way that he has matriculated through, you know, poor thing. I never really met DJ. I just know him vicariously through his mom. But the journey that you have shared
Right.
him from even going to starting in high school. And if you don't mind sharing, I'm gonna let you tell that story,
Mhm.
what the coach told him
Oh,
and
yeah.
what he ended up doing.
Right. So DJ, again, we're military, so we've traveled everywhere. So, and that's one of the disadvantage of being a military kid. You don't have that stability where somebody can train you up and watch you rise and go above and beyond, or basically mold you to be that person. DJ has always had a love for football, and he's been playing football since he was 4 years old, and that's just been his thing. So prior to moving here to Texas, we lived in Dallas and we moved again several times. We were in Hawaii, and DJ was that kid. He was the sought after student athlete. You know, he had an offer to go to Punahou, which is the school that President Obama went to. And he had they wanted to offer him a scholarship to finish the rest of his schooling. So the last 2 years, 3 years, because we moved his sophomore year at Punahou. And DJ made it, he's a family kid. Again, he made a decision. He was like, I don't want to graduate in Hawaii because my family can't come and see me walk. So that just shows you the kind of kid he is. He doesn't really always look at himself, and he's a family kid. So we came to Texas, and one of the things that knowing that he was going to graduate here, and knowing that we picked so many different places for him to live, we gave him the choice. Look at all the schools in San Antonio, and you tell us where you want us to live, and we'll find a house based on the school that you want to go to. So he chose Johnson High School because they had a really good football program. And then Johnson High School is an academic school. So a lot of those kids, they are beyond honor students. I think there's more honor students than regular students. So the GPAs they weren't even 4.0s. You have 4.5s. These people are taking college, they're graduating from high school and they're sophomores in college. With that being said, the football program itself is not priority. And so students they want to win, so they will push the kids along and not really look at their education because they don't really care about those kids. Those kids, they're here for playing football. But when it comes down to colleges, you got to look at the academics as well as your athletics. So, and going to Johnson, your education weighed more than your skill set. And so DJ was told when we moved to Johnson, he played both sides of the field, and he told them, I'm better at offense than I am defense. I'd rather be on offense. Well, the coach has put him on defense the first year he was there and said, you're not going to play offense. You're going to play defense because that's where we need you. His senior year, he ended up playing offense, and he did very well. The thing is, the offensive coordinator told him to his face, you're not D1 material. You'll never be D1. And they chose another student over him, which was fine. He had to overcome that, that other kid, and the other kid gave them what they wanted. And so, but to be somebody who's started up here, to be told you're not good enough. And so he would come home hurt. He would come home and, Mom, we need to go to these trainings. He would do all this extra stuff to overcome that stigma of you're not good enough. And I would always have to remind him, when you were little, they said you couldn't read. Look at you now. When they said, you probably won't make it out of elementary school, middle school playing football. Look at you now. He's always had to overcome stuff. When they chose all these 4-star, 5-star students to be, I guess they give them these different types of accolades, within the city, and he didn't get chosen. I'll never forget the day we sat in the laundry room and they said I wasn't good enough. I'm like, who said you weren't good enough? The coaches said I wasn't good enough, even though I made all these touchdowns or I caught this many yards. They said I wasn't good enough. I wasn't MVP. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I was like, well, DJ, that's their opinion. And as a mom, you want to fix it. And it's many days where Jesus was on their side. Because I always told my kids to love themselves. And if nobody else loves you and no one else believes in you, you believe in yourself. So he was told by parents, your son is cocky. And he would come home and he'll be in tears crying. And I'm like, what's wrong now? They say I'm too cocky. I was like, well, they didn't meet your mama because your mama is beyond cocky. So, and I will say, so now I'm going to have to take off work and I'm going to have to sit on this football field and we're going to see how cocky you are. And I would have to tell people he's not cocky, he's confident. There's a difference. I said, so don't allow his confidence to have you insecure, because my baby knows who he is. And I would have to constantly push him, and you see that now. When that coach told him he wasn't good enough to play D1, we were like, fine. He didn't help him get a scholarship. He didn't help him put out any film. He didn't help him do any of that. His father did. His uncles did. We took him around every weekend, traveling, trying out, pushing him. Education-wise, we knew he had to have the grades to even be considered for football scholarships. So what does that mean? Blind Side. And I would use that. I love that movie, The Blind Side, because the football player had a tutor. So no matter where we went, before we even moved to that city, I already had a tutor lined up. Everywhere we went. And it wasn't no go to a tutor. I need you to come to my house. I need you to understand that this is what he has going on. And I need you to help him. And that was part of our routine. DJ's always had a tutor because I knew school's going to go fast and he's going to need that extra. So he would get that extra help and be prepared for the classroom. So he was able to pass. Now, like you were saying, Dr. Ray, he wasn't, of course, we all want A's and B's. But when he got that C, praise God, he passed. That was, I was like, yes, he passed. Because it was many days I was like, Lord Jesus, I don't know how we gonna make it. I don't know how we gonna make it. But he's and my husband would get so mad. He's like, you got to stop pushing him. You need to stop hindering him and holding his hand. And it was like, I'm not. But I know he has so much going on that sometimes mama has to help. Mama has to help. If that means I need to listen, this paper right here don't make no kind of sense. So we go massage it a little bit, but it's still going to be your words. These are the skills that we have to go. I need somebody to help him write this paper. I need somebody to help him tutor, learn, and sure enough, he's playing ball. He's number 2 in the SWAC as a wide receiver. And what that means, with basketball, it's a little bit different, but for football, he goes to Texas Southern. They're trying to, their program is changing. And this is his 3rd year actually on the field. Well, this is his first real year on the field where he's playing every single game. Last year was hit or miss. The first year he was a freshman. I mean, he didn't really get to play because he was redshirted. He sat out, got in when the score was really high or really low. But this year he's at he starts the game and he more than likely will finish the game. And so it's about his yards now, his stats. It's about building him up because this is what he's been working towards his entire life. And he'll tell you, I don't care what the score says. I got to give 100% because this is what I want to do. And I'm like, okay, but are you going to graduate? That's all I want to know. It's like, just tell me you go graduate. Yay. Are you graduating? And, and he has, he's done it. And I can't be prouder of him. So I'm that crazy mama in the stands, don't know nothing about football, but I think I do. And I'm the one coaching him, calling him the night before, giving him a prayer. Don't shake your head at me, Dr. Ray. So that's giving him a prayer, saying, I'm proud of you. Go out there and give 100% because this is what you do. And if you need me to come out on the sideline and coach, mama can do that too. Just let me, I'm here for you. But yeah, no, he's number 2 in the SWAC. He has almost 500 yards, catching yards and running and all that good stuff, whatever that means. But all I know is he keeps telling me, he'll tell you, Google him. And when you Google his name, it's articles after articles. And it's a great thing because he's been working so hard, so hard to get to this point, and knowing that he's gone through so much to finally be proud of himself, and that's what makes me happy because he's happy because he overcome all of these things. And when I ask him to this day, are you okay? How's your education part? Are you still seeing, are the words still jumping off the pages? And he would tell me, Mom, it's not that I can't read. He said, it just takes me a little longer to read. He said, it just takes me a little longer to process what that means. Sometimes, I can do it quick and simple. He said, but most of the time I just need to let it marinate so I can understand what's going on. And I'm okay with that. And I said, if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. And yeah, he's doing great. That's my buddy.
I understand because what I would do, the boys, when they would be playing basketball, and even if I was at the game, I'm texting. Like, why did you throw that pass like that? Why did you do that? And they had a kick at the end of the game. They would go and sit in the locker room and just read my text messages. It's just like,
we're coaches. Yes, we are coaches.
Professional coaches, but they don't see that. But it's okay.
It's okay. And I was like that with his education, and it's funny because he would tell his teachers, because like I told you, when school started, I would get, even in high school, I need all the teachers' emails because we need to have a power meeting. And they were like, well, we don't do this in high school. Oh, we're doing this in high school. We are. I need a meeting, and I need to meet with all of you together, round table. And we need to have an understanding that I'm going to email you constantly. So please have your grades in the system because I'm going to be in his butt if I don't see these grades. And I'll never forget, we were in Hawaii and a math teacher, he came to the power of the meeting. He sat around, he understood the criteria of educating my child. And he told me that I had too much time on my hand to be watching his grades. DJ got transferred out of that class as soon as we had our parent-teachers conference because it didn't end very well. It was one of those classes where I said, I need you to excuse yourself from this conversation I'm about to have with this math teacher, and you need to go get the principal because it's not going to end very well for him or I. And DJ got transferred out of that class immediately because it was more than he was messing with my child about it, not just his education. He told him, I don't know why you're worried about his education. He don't need this. No. He does, and yeah, it was mess. But it's been many days like that where the teacher would tell me, you have too much time on your hand. No, I don't. Not when it comes down to these kids. And and DJ would tell him, please don't call my mama. Put me in detention. Put me in school suspension. Just don't call her. And hey, I love it. I was okay with it because he knew if they, and it worked out because when I had my little round tables, if he did something silly or he got caught one time cheating on a test, the teacher didn't even get upset with him. She kindly put the test to the side. She didn't even say anything to him. She called me and she said, I'm gonna allow him to retake the test, but I just want to let you know this is what happened. I said, okay. Sounds good. I'll be up there in a minute because he has a doctor's appointment. And he was so excited. He came walking down the house. Oh, hey, Mom. I was like, oh, yeah. We have a meeting at the house at the doctor's appointment. We had a doctor's appointment because we needed to have a good conversation on how you cheated on this test. And when we were done conversating, I took him back to school. And he went and took that test and he passed it. See? So, Dr. Ray, you said be honest. So education with him, I didn't play. I understood some of the hindrance obstacles that he had, but I also knew what he could and could not do. And could not was not part of our vocabulary. You always figure out another way. If you can't do something, we go figure out how you can do it. Because cannot, and can't, that's not in our vocabulary. We're going to get it done by any means necessary. And that's just how it is. And so look at him now, by any means necessary.
But this is what I just think is so funny because Joann, how tall are you?
Hey, I am very tall.
I know you're a giant in the Lord.
All of 5'3".
5'3". That's what I want. So can you imagine?
Because all my kids are 6 feet, 5'11". And I'm just all of 5'3". But that's okay though.
It's okay. It's okay because I can just see that.
Because you already know.
And running it.
Like, yeah, let's have a conversation. I'm very respectful. Children, leave the room. We about to have a conversation. This is also the lady who, when that man told me my child came home crying because he said, Mama, they said I'm too cocky. Oh, okay, cool. I bet you they won't say it tomorrow. They won't say that to you tomorrow.
But anyway, it is such an honor, and the journey that DJ had accomplished. Oh my God. I mean, because you see him now, like you say, if you Google him, you will see articles on articles on articles. As a mom, if you think back when he was 4 years old and you're going through all of these issues of not knowing what's wrong with my child, why my child is different, and you see him right now where he is. Mm-hmm. Explain that feeling.
Those days from The Color Purple with Celie would have all those note cards all over the house and they're learning. That was my house with my child. Everywhere, walking around and Post-its on how to spell Mira and smelly markers, because I knew that, like you were saying before, the other senses are stronger. They just, when one sense doesn't work, the other senses overcome to help you. So I was that mom that was walking around with the smelly marker saying, to spell ocean, always remember ocean is written with the blue marker and it smells like this. And to see that all those challenges that we went through and to see where he is now and how I'm just so proud of all of the things that he has accomplished and how he tells me now, I make dyslexia out to be something bigger. To him, he's like, this is life. It's normal. Like, what's the big deal? It's a wonderful feeling to know that your child didn't skip a beat. He wasn't treated any differently. I mean, he still has stigmas that he has to go through because it was more than just his education. And I always emphasize to him, you're more than just a football player. You have so many obstacles. You were born with obstacles, not just with your education aspect of having dyslexia, but the color of your skin. I said, you're a boy. The color of your skin, when they see you, all they see is a drug dealer, an athlete. I said, people don't expect you to be great. To know that's how I had to constantly tell him. They don't expect you to be great. So your challenge, your role is to make sure everybody knows you're great. And you are always going to have to prove somebody wrong. And that's all he's been doing his whole life. And I think in my statement, I say all the time, this boy has overcome so many obstacles that being number 2 in the SWAC is minute. That's little stuff, knowing all the different things that could have held him back, and he chose to move forward. He chose not to say I can't and give up. He proved everybody wrong, and he continues to do these things, and I'm just so proud of him. So,
I think he had that 5-2. He knew that 5-2 was behind him, and either I'm gonna go on my own or I'm gonna go with some help.
He's go, yes. Now, and I always joke with him because, like you were saying, with the C, making C's, I would tell him all the time, you don't have to go to college. You don't have to play football. These are choices. You don't have to get an education. My job is to make sure you're successful. So if you want to work at Waffle House, I need you to know how to make some waffles and flip that pancake, scramble them eggs, because you're going to do the best you can. But understand this, live in your means, not mine. So if you want to be a successful Waffle House maker, by all means, just don't ask me to pay your rent. And that's what I would tell him, and he would get, hey, school's not for everybody, but whatever you choose, give 100%. And this is the path that he chose. And he knows you got to give 100%. And trust and believe, those days when he makes a bad grade, he's afraid to call home because he's just like, but listen. I'm like, no. Did you try? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Try again, because I need you to pass this class. Let's try again. And that's where he is. And, here he is now in his master program. And he told me the other day, I don't think I need to get this master's degree. And I said, as long as they are paying it, you go get that master's degree, because that's the expectations that I have when you chose to go to college. You chose that path, so you have to be better than your mother. And if that means getting a master's degree, then that's what you're going to do, And he understands. So I don't know. I just suggest to everyone, know your child and know what they need and give them that extra love and, support, and encouragement, because sometimes they will too fall short and they'll be discouraged, and they need to hear it from you that it's okay. A C is passing, a D is passing, but I know you can do better, even with all your stipulations and obstacles, you can still do better. And if you try, I can only say good job and keep it moving. And we go dance for that C. So
you'll make up a song.
We will make up a song. Yes. Yes. And yes, that's how he learned his name. And it was, comical. but he knew how to spell his name. He just he knew how to spell
All
it.
right. Well, Keita, do you have anything else you would like to ask our guests?
No, actually, I don't. I want to thank Joann for gracing us on the platform today. Um, DJ's story is amazing, and her just being the super mom that she is to make sure that he wasn't and is not a statistic as being a minority already is very challenging just to become. So just having, his mom behind him and just giving him encouragement and giving him space to be able to tell his truth and to be able to be comfortable in his truth. So thank you again for your story on today, but I don't have anything. So thank you again for joining. I appreciate it. I enjoy the episode on tonight. Dr. Ray, back to you.
Okay. Well, Joann, the last thing I am going to ask you, for all the mothers who are struggling to help their child come to grips with um, who they are and where they are. Because the first thing when our kids are not where they're supposed to be, especially when they're younger, we put that on us, that we have failed. What didn't I do? Did I do something while I was pregnant? Did I not do this, or da 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 da? What advice would you give to a mother who is at the beginning of this journey?
What advice I would give, one thing for sure is that there is no book on
Yeah.
how to mother parent your child. Every child is different. Learn your child. And unfortunately, we're in an era where social media is our platform, and people, they brag. Everybody's bragging, and it's okay because that's how we let our kids shine. But know that there's no right or wrong answer, on how you raise your kid and the things that you do for your child. And don't put that pressure on yourself. Again, there's no book. You have to do what's best for you and for that child. And so I just, do the research. Don't take no, or don't take no as the final answer. There may be, like I said, there's different levels to dyslexia. Don't just assume just because your child has a disability, that he's or she is bad, or he or she can't be what other people think their kids are supposed to be, because they're not. They're their own person. And so you define your child, you allow your child to define who they are, and you just encourage it, and just stay prayed up. So baby, you gonna need some prayer. Stay prayed up, stay educate yourself, trial and error. If it didn't work, try something else. If that tutor doesn't work, get another one. It's sacrifice, financially, physically, mentally. At the end of the day, protect that child. If you're not anybody else, if nothing else out there, be that child's number one cheerleader and that person there, because if you don't love that child, they're not gonna love themselves. So just I encourage you to encourage them, to build them up, so they can fight against the world, because everybody's already against them. They already have so many negatives against them. They don't need it at home. That's all I got. And I can't wait. I will definitely. It's football season, so Derek he's blowing up my phone right now. He's on the field. And so when football season's over, or when we get to a pause, Dr. Ray, I would definitely, and Keita, make sure that he comes on and he can share his personal insight, because let DJ tell it there's nothing wrong with him. He would tell you there's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, we would love to definitely, have him on the platform. because we would definitely love to hear his experience. So it has been amazing on today.
Yeah.
Again, we thank you for gracing us and telling your journey, as well as DJ's journey, his dyslexia journey, and as we talk about, he's still moving through different obstacles, but he is overcoming because of the resources that is privy to him because of all that you did at the beginning stages to normalize his process so that he doesn't feel so awkward with obtaining those resources that is available to him. So we appreciate you on today, and we just hope that those that have tuned in today and those that will watch the replay, that they will gain something from this as you, the mother that you are, basically, sharing your story to encourage other mothers that maybe feel like their child don't need, special accommodations because they don't want their child to feel awkward. But just hearing it from you allowing your son to obtain those resources has allowed him to become a better version of himself, to not be a statistic. So that is amazing in itself. As of right now, we're just going to go ahead and close out. If you don't have anything else.
No, thank you guys. Like I said, I'm super proud of the kid he is, the young adult that he is becoming. And I guess I appreciate you all allowing me to sit on this platform and share my story. And I look forward to him coming to share his story. Because I mean, it's, if you, like I said, my little 5'3", ma'am, I'm 5'3". Stress it out. I'm 5'3", but when you're a mom and you have a child, it's love. It's all love. And that's all you want is the best for them. And like I said before, I really appreciate this opportunity. And thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Again, we are so excited that you are here, and to our audience, we thank you again. Those of you who follow us the first and third Tuesday of each month, we appreciate your time, and we hope that something that we said will make a difference in your life, not just yours, but your student, your child, your grandchild, or whomever. If you have any questions that you would like for us to answer, please inbox us. We are willing to do that. And if you would love to be a guest on our podcast, also please contact us and we will be willing to do so. We're asking that you will always be the best version of yourself so the world can see your God-given talents, not what the world wants you to be or who they want you to be, but we want you to be who God has created you to be. Until next time, again, thank you for coming. Be blessed and a blessing. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one. Thank you all for joining.
My name is Dr. Ray, and I'm here to tell you about our podcast, Overcoming Dyslexia and Other Stigmas. We are here to have the tough and difficult conversation about being labeled special ed or have some form of a disability. My name again is Dr. Raylyn White.
And I am Keita A. Pratt. Be sure to tune in to us every first and third Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
We can be found on Clubhouse as of now, but please stay tuned to our social media pages, Overcoming Dyslexia and Other Stigmas.
Heritage Academy in San Antonio is now open for student registration. Our mission at Heritage Academy is to not only prepare students to succeed at college, but to instill values and knowledge, to educate the whole person, and to balance intellectual development with purposeful moral guidance. Smaller classes, personal attention, focusing on teaching life values. We're eager to welcome new students this fall. Register your student today at heritageacademy.net.